Well, now that we've talked about winter weather and the cold weather and how it can affect us, let's talk about some precautions we can take. How can we prepare our homes, our cars, and ourselves for the winter months? For the home, let's talk about first insulating your home, your walls, your pipes. Keep faucets dripping if the temperature drops below freezing. This is also, think about the hose bibs outside. Make sure you disconnect those hoses in winter, and think about insulating as well. Either the commercially available foam cups that go over your outside hose connections, or maybe some rags in a bucket covering it, something to keep those outside pipes warm. Good ventilation. Ensure that your heating source is working properly and your house is well ventilated. Have your system serviced regularly. A checkup in the wintertime as well as the springtime is a good idea. Have it serviced regularly. Put a carbon monoxide detector near any gas heating system or gas water heaters. Safe shelter. We want to take extra precautions to ensure the well-being of your animals by providing plenty of water and food, as well as appropriate shelter. When it really gets cold outside, don't forget about your pets. Don't leave them just sitting out in the cold. Make sure you know where your water shutoff valve is and learn how to use it. Just in case a pipe does burst, you know, when you have water coming out of a burst pipe flooding your home, that's not when you want to start thinking about where is the water shutoff valve and how do I use it. Make sure you check on that ahead of time. Make sure you have a cell phone with an emergency charging option, either from charging from your car or from solar or a hand crank, something, just in case you do have a power failure. A lot of our telephone systems these days are voice over IP and require electricity. So if that goes out and you don't have the old-fashioned analog telephone, you know, you need a phone that works. So make sure you have a charged cell phone, again, if we're looking at a cold weather streak or a winter storm coming and hitting us. If you or somebody you know depends on electricity to operate medical equipment, make sure you have an alternate arrangements in place just in case power is out for an extended period of time. And of course, make sure we check on our elderly or disabled relatives and neighbors. Take care of each other when those winter storms do hit. Now let's talk about your car. What do you need to do to your car when wintertime hits? Well, make sure you have a mechanic check the antifreeze, the brakes, the heater, the defroster, the tires. Check your windshield wipers. Make sure the washer fluid, you might change out the washer fluid to a winter mix so it doesn't freeze so soon. And make sure you try to keep your fuel tank at least half full in the winter months. Just in case you do get stuck out in the cold, your car dies, or have your mechanical problem, you don't want to run out of fuel, run out of gas while you're trying to stay warm while you're waiting for help to come out. Make sure you check your emergency supply kit in the car. We should always have a supply kit in our car, whether it's wintertime, summertime, spring, it doesn't matter. But depending on the season, you may adjust the contents of that kit. Also, just if you have a kit, just check on it. Make sure it's still in good shape. Some suggestions, and there are more. You may think of some, but some suggestions. Some of these apply more to states or locations that are in colder, have much colder or get a lot more snow than we do here in North Texas. Now, naturally, that we would never, I hope, get snow like what you see in the photo here. But again, just some suggestions. If you're going on a winter road trip, you might want to think about some of these more than if you're just driving around the North Texas area. But some kind of a fire starting kit, a pocket knife, something that if you do get stuck, if you go off the road or you get stuck out away from people, and you get stuck in the snow or in the cold weather, you have a way to stay warm. Wire saw or something to cut large pieces of wood, just for an emergency fire. A space blanket, those little Mylar blankets, they're really great. To keep you warm, you can use them as a windbreaker, a heat reflector. They have a lot of uses. Large trash bags, something to wrap around you or over your backpack if you don't have a rain poncho or a rain outfit. Something to keep you protected from rain and wind. Electrician's tape or some kind of good tape, good general purpose, high pressure or strong tape. It has many uses, from repairing blankets or tents or trying to seal up a leaky boot. You can try having something called Insulite, some kind of a closed cell foam. I have some of these I don't have on the slide, but I'll mention them. The foam pad would come into place if you need to sit on a cold surface. Again, we talked about conduction, losing heat if you're next to sitting on or standing on a cold surface. If you have a foam pad to sit on or sleep on, you can retain some of that body heat. A headlamp, if you're going to need to be working in the dark or trying to find your way around in the dark in cold weather, make sure you have a headlamp. That keeps your hands free. And if you have anything, a headlamp or anything with power, make sure you have spare batteries. A map and a compass. It's nice to rely on your cell phone and the electronic compass, but that may not work. You may run out of power on that, or just not be a good place where that's reliable. So I have an old-fashioned map and compass nearby. Extra clothing and drinking water and food. I always keep these in my vehicle year-round. I keep a spare set of clothing in a vacuum-sealed bag so it stays dry. And if you have food or water in the vehicle, make sure you change that out routinely. Sunglasses and sunscreen. Yes, it can be cold outside, but if there's snow on the ground, they can reflect a lot of sunlight. You still need that sun protection. Snow shovel. If you're on trips where snow is expected, and you need something to be able to dig yourself out or provide traction should you unfortunately go off the road. So something like a kitty litter or speedy dry, something kind of traction material as well. Signaling equipment, such as a whistle or mirror or flares, something to get people's attention if you get stuck. Of course, we're ham radio operators. Make sure you have a good radio working if you're in your car at all times, but especially if you're going to be going on a winter trip, a wintertime trip. We can always have our mobile radio. Even if you might have a mobile radio, have an HT or handheld spare, just as a backup. But you have spare batteries for the handheld, and test it before you leave. Okay, now that we talked about preparing your home and your car, let's talk about preparing yourself. We want to avoid frostbite. You need to rely on all your senses. Stay alert for exposed skin that starts to look red. It might throb or prickle, kind of get pins and needles, burn or sting. These are the first signs that you're getting some kind of a cold injury, cold-related injury. Areas that look yellowish gray or white, waxy, or feel too firm. That could be onset of frostbite. Lack of feeling or in a part of your body that's exposed to the cold. Look out for these signs and symptoms that you're being affected by a cold-related injury. The only sure way to prevent frostbite is to limit the amount of time you spend outdoors in extremely cold weather. If you do plan to spend time outside, make sure you dress right. That's a must. Here are some tips. Layer up. You're not after the snowman look. Wear loose, light, and comfy clothing. Layers will keep you the warm air in and close to your body. Wear synthetic fabric next to your body. This is the moisture-wicking fabrics. Undergarments that pull moisture from your body are best. Cover those with a fleece or a wool layer. That'll retain your body heat. Tuck in your toes. You'll need to wear not one, but 2 pairs of socks. Just like your clothing, a pair underneath should be a moisture-wicking material, and then a nice pair of wool or warm socks over that. Make sure your footwear is waterproof and covers your ankles. You don't want snow or dampness to seep into your shoes. Don't forget your fingers. Mittens are your best bet to protect your digits from frostbite. If you do prefer gloves, choose a pair that's comfortable, and try some that have moisture-wicking glove liners underneath them. Your head cover. Don't forget about your head. A hat or a headband made of fleece, heavy wool, or windproofing fabric is the best choice. Make sure it covers your ears. And a face mask or a scarf is really good when the cold really gets extreme. That'll protect your face and nose, and it'll also warm the air that you're breathing in. Make sure you drink lots of water. Just like when it's warm outside, we need to stay hydrated. Make sure you drink a whole glass of water and eat a good meal before you go out in the cold. Avoid alcohol. Alcohol will make you lose heat more quickly. Do you want a nice sweet treat to bump up your body heat? Try a mug of hot cocoa. That's might hit the spot. Mind the climate. Trust your weather forecast. Note those wind chill readings. If it's really cold outside and windy, frostbite can attack exposed skin within minutes. Take along those emergency supplies just in case you can't get back quickly as you plan. Make sure you have extra clothing with you or in your car for warmth should you need it. Also keep moving. Stay in motion when you're outside in the cold. That'll keep your blood flow up and help you stay warm. But make sure you don't overdo it. You'll need your energy if you're out in the cold. Should we get a severe winter storm or severe cold event, stay indoors during the storm. Don't drive unless you're absolutely necessary to do so. If you do need to drive, travel during the day. Don't travel alone, and make sure others know of your schedule and your route. Stay on the main roads and avoid back roads or shortcuts. Walk carefully in the snowy and icy walkways. I know I've had my share of falls out and walking on and hitting an icy patch. So be careful if you're walking around outside when it's been had ice or snow. Avoid overexertion when shoveling snow. Again, hopefully we won't have to shovel that much snow here in North Texas, but if you do, don't overdo it. Overexertion can bring on a heart attack. That's a major cause of death in the winter. Use caution, take breaks, push the snow instead of lifting it, and if possible, lift lighter loads. Make sure you keep dry. Change that wet clothing frequently and prevent a loss of body heat. Wet clothing loses all of its insulating value and will transmit heat rapidly, so stay dry. If you do have to go outside, wear several layers of loose-fitting clothing, like we said. Lightweight, warm clothing rather than one big, heavy layer of clothing. Lastly, I want to talk about just a safety matter. Carbon monoxide. Each year, an average of 430 Americans die from unintentional carbon monoxide poisoning. And there are more than 20,000 visits to the emergency room, more than 4,000 of those requiring hospitalization. Carbon monoxide-related deaths are highest during the colder months. These deaths are likely due to increased use of gas-powered furnaces and alternative heating, cooking, and power sources used inappropriately indoors during power outages. Never use a generator, grill, camp stove, or other gasoline, propane, or natural gas or charcoal burning devices inside a home, garage, basement, crawl space, or any partially enclosed area. Locate these units away from doors, windows, and vents that could allow the carbon monoxide to come inside. Keep those devices at least 20 feet from doors, windows, and vents. The primary hazards to avoid when using alternate sources for electricity, heating, cooking, are carbon monoxide poisoning and electric shock and fire. Install carbon monoxide alarms inside central locations on every level of your home and outside sleeping areas to provide early warning of accumulating carbon monoxide. If that carbon monoxide alarm sounds, may move quickly to fresh air. Outdoors or by an open window or door, and make sure you call for help once you're outside in the fresh air. That's when you call for help, and stay there until emergency personnel arrive. And carbon monoxide is colorless, odorless. You can't see it, you can't hear it, you can't smell it. Just a few resources for more information. These are good websites. They have a lot of topics. Ready.gov. There's a page on winter weather. There's Know What to Do. There's a severe weather and winter weather section on there. A lot of good information. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching this, and hopefully you stayed through to watch the whole thing, or if not, watch it in stages. It's all good information. This is the first of hopefully many videos that we're going to start doing. A lot more training. We'll always have our training on the air during our monthly ARES training nets, but we do want to start providing some content on our YouTube page as well. So everyone be safe, and hope to see you on the air. 73.